No limit in the sky that I won't fly for you. No amount of tears in my eyes that I won't.
Welcome back to my channel. So remember that one scary story that I mentioned in that one video a little while ago?
One story in particular that I vividly remember is our neighbor girl. She told me this creepy doll story.
Oh my gosh, no, I hate that one.
And I said I was never gonna talk about it again because it's just too scary. Yeah, I'm gonna tell that story today. It's actually 1 in the morning at the time that I'm filming right now, so I have to go to bed after this. Is it a good idea to tell this scary story right before I go to sleep? No, because I'm probably not gonna sleep tonight. I'm gonna freak myself out with this story. I have my blankie here for moral support. Just because I'm a grown adult doesn't mean that I can't get scared. Y'all just wait, this story is messed up. It traumatized me as a child and I couldn't sleep by myself for years. Every single night I would sleep in the same room as my sister because I was just too terrified to sleep alone in a dark room until I was about 11 years old. Disclaimer, if you don't like scary stories that involve dolls, this is not the one for you. You probably just want to click off now. I don't want to be held accountable for you having to sleep in your parents' room for the rest of your life because you're so scared. However, if you love things like this, then grab some popcorn, get a Mountain Dew skis, and make sure a bathroom is nearby because you're definitely gonna need it after this story. My drink of choice is a Sprite, mostly because we don't have Mountain Dew at the moment. Oh, I haven't had Sprite in years. Go ahead and buckle up because we're just going right into this. Once upon a time, on a cold and dark October eve, Beth and her family were cooped up indoors. They were celebrating her 9th birthday. So Beth was opening her presents and her parents gave her this box which she began to unwrap. And as she opened it, the contents became clear. It was a doll. It was very expensive in nature. It stood about 2 feet tall, but there was something that was off about this one. The black beady eyes that stared back at Beth did not settle well with her. But the doll also came with a note, and it said, "Her name is Molly, passed on from your great-grandmother." A chilling thought passed Beth because giving the doll a name just made it seem more real and more alive, which for most people isn't a quality that you want in a doll. Even more so that this doll was older than her and passed on by her deceased great-grandmother. Yeah, that's kind of an unsettling feeling. But you know, of course, Beth didn't think this doll could do anything. It's just a toy, it's just a material thing. A very sinister looking one at that, but you know, when it comes down to it, what is the worst that can happen? Oh boy. So trying to get rid of that inward terror that was growing inside of her, Beth just stuffed the doll into a bin and then pushed it into a closet underneath the stairs and shut the door. That same night, she was in her bedroom upstairs trying to fall asleep. All of a sudden, she heard some sort of rummaging going on, and then the creak of a door slightly opening from downstairs. So she grasped her covers tight and listened very carefully to see if she could hear what was going on. The sound of a light pitter-patter was resonating in her room, but the sound was coming from downstairs. And then Beth heard a whisper. Beth. Okay, so Beth heard the really creepy whisper. Her face became white and her heart started beating faster. Then she heard it again.
I'm on the first step. I'm on the second step.
She pulled her covers over her face and minced in fear. And then she heard the sound of scuttling, whatever it was, retreating back to wherever it came from. So then basically, your girl, Beth, couldn't sleep the entire night because she couldn't stand the thought of Molly, her doll, being alive. Of course, the next day, Beth tried to tell her parents what she heard last night. But they just brushed it off. They told her it was just a dream, she was just imagining it, and it was all gonna be okay, and they sent her off to school. When she got back from school, she checked the bin underneath the stairs just to make sure, and Molly was right where she had left her. Nighttime came again, and Beth reluctantly got in her bed to try to go to sleep again. After some time, she dozed off, but then she was woken up by the sound of quick footsteps downstairs. Yeah, that was sick. And then the whisper came again.
Beth, I'm on the third step. I'm on the fourth step.
It sounded like the doll retreated again, and Beth laid in her bed, paralyzed with fear, staying up all night once again. The following morning came and Beth went to go check the bin again, and the doll was still there right where she had placed it. She thought to herself, if Molly is climbing 2 stairs every night, it's only a matter of time before she reaches my room, and then what? Beth shuddered at that thought. The following night, Beth heard it again.
I'm on the 5th step. I'm on the 6th step.
Another sleepless night. Beth couldn't take it anymore. There were only 2 more steps until the top, and then what could possibly happen after that? So she started to doubt her own belief and tried to pass off these nightly occurrences as just vivid, realistic dreams. But she knew that she was awake the entire time because she hadn't seen sleep in a long time. Evening came once again, and Beth lay in her bed with her covers wrapped tight around her, waiting in anticipation for the noise. She waited for hours, but nothing. She was also beginning to get drowsy, so she fell into a half-sleep state. All of a sudden, she heard a sound, a voice, the voice.
I'm on the 7th step. I'm on the top step.
Beth's heart was pounding harder and faster than ever, and she waited to hear the sound of the doll retreating again, but she heard nothing. The eerie voice chimed in suddenly.
I'm in the hallway. I'm by your door. I'm in your bedroom. I'm by your bedside.
The next morning, the parents walked into the room, and what they saw was a horrifying sight. Beth was lying on her bed with the doll right next to her. And they were watching the Emoji Movie and having a great time.